Yo, what's up? This is Alex with Gray Area. In this spotlight, you'll hear from Pavel Petrov, a Bulgarian producer, DJ, and nightclub owner. He's worked tirelessly over the last several years to transform his XA nightclub in Sofia, Bulgaria, into one of the hottest in his country. We'll talk about how his childhood ambitions brought him full circle, and how he hopes to reinvigorate house music with a fresh take on classic tech house. Be sure to like this video and subscribe for more interviews like this. Thanks for taking the time out to talk to me. I really appreciate it.
Wow.
Um, yeah. I want to ask you first because I always like to find out what's your earliest musical memory?
My earliest musical memory.
Yeah.
I was enjoying Michael Jackson, by the way. I remember when I was a child, a kid, my father used to play one radio, and every morning they played different tracks of Michael Jackson between every other tracks. So I was enjoying this before school every morning. So I wanted so bad his album, and it was very hard to find a quality album of his because everything was on a cassette. You remember these times,
Yeah, I do.
I guess. So yeah, I had his first one of his albums on a cassette. I don't remember which one was it. I remember, but I don't know the name. So I really enjoyed after that. That's my earliest memory.
Nice. Did you always envision yourself being a musician, or were there other things that you were looking to do when you were younger?
And that's a great question. Well, few days ago I was discussing with some of my friends about what he was thinking he will become after years when he was a kid and stuff like that. So he said something like an astronaut, but right now he's working on an office, very boring work, very boring job. But he's all right. But he asked me uh, what was how can I say that? What were you thinking? What you will become when you become grown up? So I always knew that. I always knew since I was very young. I'm gonna be a boss of something. It doesn't matter what it is. I'm gonna be the boss. So that, but I never thought I'm gonna be a musician or a DJ or a producer or whatever.
Well, how did you what were your how did you get into music? How'd you get into dance music? How did you fall in love with dance music?
Well, I was 19 years old. Before that, I was listening to that neo metal like Limp Bizkit, Papa Roach, Soulfly, stuff like that. Could kind of be the opposite of the electronic music. Yeah, so I was System of a Down, of course. That was my favorite one. So basically,
Is
I started work. Sorry.
Papa Roach is actually from nearby where I live.
Oh, really? Where's that?
I live in Oakland. They're from like Modesto, which is like maybe an hour and a half from here.
Oh, nice. Send them regards from me. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Yeah. What was that about?
So
Hmm.
you're saying you were into new metal, but then what happened?
Yeah. And after that, I suddenly started to work in one store for clothing brands, and it was a very expensive one. They had really good brands in it. So I had that a manager. So he was listening only electronic music. So in that time I didn't like that type of music, but he introduced it to me in the best way. So just for 2 weeks I fell in love with that, and he brought me to one of my first parties, and man, I was like, wow, this is the thing, like I'm gonna love this for all my life. So I started to go even on parties, but only by my own with $10 in my pocket, so in front of the DJ with one beer. So I was watching him into the eyes because there was no backstage for me during that time.
Right.
So yeah, I really enjoyed every single minute on every party I was. during that time. So then I asked another friend, bro, can you teach me to mix tracks one with another? So I didn't understand quite well how is this even working, you know. And he showed me something on tractor native instruments, but it was kind of lame. I felt it even in that time.
Right.
Then I met another guy. I don't know if you know Metodi Christoph.
Yeah.
Yeah, I met him. Actually, we started a lot of things together in the past. That was like uh, 12 years ago or something like that. And he showed me how to mix on mixer, players, decks, everything. So it how it started.
I think it was interesting you brought up the fact that even when you first started, you stood in front of the DJ. Like, were you always like when you first started going to parties, were you already drawn to like the idea of like being in front of the crowd?
Well, I love the idea of being in front of the crowd, and also the idea no one to know who are you, because one of my deepest pains, if I can say like that, it's like when you go to a party, everyone wants to make a photo with you, which is great. You know, I feel great when this is happening, but sometimes it's too much. They're coming, then I can say that they can spit in your ear, trying to talk about a lot of things you don't want to hear and you don't really want to know. But for the first five persons, it's okay. You know, I can take that. But there's another 10 and another 10 and another 10. So I can't even listen to the music. So I prefer to go in Mexico or somewhere in South America and just go to a party when nobody knows me and just enjoy the trip.
So
You feel
you,
me?
yeah, I feel it. I feel that. I definitely feel that. You like the
No, it's
anonymity.
because sometimes people are insulted by when you're like, because it's the 35th person for 1 hour who wants to speak with you, and you're like I'm like oh my god, I don't even want to speak anymore, and I'm just turning back around and run away, and they're like, this guy, look at him, he don't even want to speak to me, you know, and they started to speak about
I mean, you want to
how
go out and
bad it
have
is.
you want to go out and have a good time too. You want to enjoy the music. It's hard to enjoy the music if people keep pulling you away from the music.
Yeah, I understand them because they don't think about that they're not the first ones who want to speak with you, you know, they think they're the first one. Hey, come on, let's have a small talk, you know. I'm okay with that, but if you're only you, it's all right. But if you when you're the 50%, it's a problem, you know. That's it.
I feel that. Definitely feel that. So what do you I want to touch on the fact that you grew up in a socialist country. Um, how did socialism ending in Bulgaria change the music culture there?
Oof, actually, I was born in 1987. I think I didn't felt quite right the socialism, but my parents did. So I know a lot of stories how they supposed to live in that times, very hard times, according to them. According to other people lived in the socialism, great fucking times. You know, you gotta go to work, you gotta go to you just after work you go to your apartment and you make the salad and drink the rakia. That's our national drink here. So basically, it's every day same, but some people like that. Some other people don't doesn't. So my parents, for example, they explained to me about the music. How was very hard to find a vinyl or even to listen any kind of music anywhere. Only they supposed to listen only Bulgarian or Russian socialistic bands and groups and shit like that. So I think that's a pain in the ass. If I can't find my music right now, a new music, everyday new music, that's gonna be a bad luck for me.
That's definitely going to be a problem. Um, I want to talk about how did you get into event production?
To event production.
Yeah, how did you start? You started throwing your events. So, like, I want to find out, like, how did that process of like I want to be a DJ, and now I'm a DJ, and now I want to throw events. Like, what was that journey like? How did that happen?
Basically, it's I don't know. I mentioned Metodi. So during that time, we were best friends. But when I started the events a few months before that, we broke up. Let's say like that. So right now, of course, we are again great friends, and we are working on projects together and a lot of things. Everything is reborn, luckily. I'm really happy about that. But I started these events after that because I was kind of alone. I had other friends from the past left from Metodi, not left from Metodi. I know them, of course, before that and stuff like that. But he was one of them. It was a party animal. It's Chavdar, that's his name. So there was no great place for us where we can go to have a proper party, and we started to think, what are we gonna do? Okay, let's start our own events. Let's make that party for New Year's Eve. So we did the first party, and I was surprised, but it was a blast. 300 people for us during that time was, wow, mind blowing. And then we started with another one, 800 people, the third one, 1,000 people, and the number started growing with every event. But we got that great concept. Every time, different place. We never go back to this place, so different place. Um, a lot of how can I say, we rent a lot of items from here and there. We rent cars, we rent a lot of things, so we can make the event like more art. So people really appreciated that. And sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just agree. I was just agreeing with you. I hear what you're saying.
I And then after 4 or 5 years of really historical events for my country, there was a possibility popped up from nothing, literally, to make a club in Sofia. And my partner in that time, Chavdar, he said, "Dude, let's make the club." And I was like, "Club? I gotta make music. I don't want to go. I don't want to build a club because I don't know how to do it. And usually the club owners are like mafia guys and stuff like that. And I said, I don't want to mess up with this. That's not my thing. I just want to keep doing my music. The things are going really well. I started the touring in South America and Asia, everywhere. So I was really happy about that. Europe, of course. And I said no. And he was like, "You're fucking crazy." So 1 week he tried to convince me. So at the end, I said, "Okay, let's do this, but we have to think a lot for that."
Right.
And now, since the opening, already 3 years, this is the best place. I don't want to say on the balcony or one of the best places or Europe, but it's the best place in my country for sure, because we are people of details. So every single detail in this club, it's like perfect. Some of them are almost perfect, but I'm not happy every time. Even if it's perfect, I'm not gonna be happy. So yeah, I'm really happy with that place, and people really enjoyed because we got our own codex. How what to wear in the club, what is welcome, what is not. We're doing also different type of events. We are doing trap nights, because this is something we really like, and I cannot play that, but I can really enjoy it. And we found great DJs, great crew. So we build up all the residency around us with DJs, light guys, all the guys who works there. They really care about the club. They're not just employees there.
That's good. That's
And
so
yeah.
that's so awesome. How do you so you still make music and you still DJ, but I know like running a club is a lot of work. How do you like balance all of that and then like still manage to like go on tour and do all of these things? How do you find the time to like make everything fit?
Well, basically, yeah, you're right. That's a lot of work. The work it's coming more and more and more and more because we are still doing these events, and we opened another place here at Zopol. That's why I'm living on the seaside. We opened Exit Beach Bar. So basically, the work it's more and more every month, and we are also doing the Euro. You know Euro. I guess we're doing Euro for Bulgaria, and maybe we'll do it for Poland for the next few years, and maybe more countries because we already did one Euro here in Sofia, and these guys they said you're the biggest professionals we worked so far, one of the biggest. So they're really happy with us, and we are really happy with them. So I think it's a great partnership. Anyway, so a lot of projects, man, and we just had to manage to build a great team around us, and all of our partners and all of our crew, they're like machines. Everyone knows what to do. Yeah. So now I'm more calm every day. It doesn't matter the work; it's more. I know if I can trust this guy to manage this. I can trust this girl to manage that, and everything. It's like a machine. You know, that's it.
You mentioned Elro. Actually, so gray area that the people that we're interviewing you for, we actually do Elro here in the United States.
You do?
Yeah.
You do?
The company that I work for does Elro in the United States. Yeah.
Nice, man. Nice.
Yeah. So that's actually really interesting because we just reached out to you, but that's really interesting that you're doing it there. So that's cool. Having said that, and having said that, you had to put DJing and nightclub stuff on pause for the last year. How'd you stay busy during the pandemic?
Yeah, that was I wanted to say if this pandemic somehow pushed us to build up the idea for the beach bar. So if it wasn't that pandemic, we would never do that, never, because we felt in our comfort zone with the club. Everything was great, but then the pandemic hits, and suddenly my gigs are over. Yeah. My sales are over. Royalties is almost over. The club it's not working. No money.
Right.
The ground. And basically all of us started to think about how we have to make some more money if there's a window for the next year, blah blah blah. Yeah. We built a lot of plans. So one of the saving plans was that beach bar, and honestly, I'm very, very, very happy with it. I think I run away from your question, so can you repeat it again?
Well, no, that's right. I think that was right, because the question was, how'd you stay busy during the pandemic? And you decided to open another nightclub, which is kind of, it's kind of a strange. I think it's kind of a strange thing to do, because you're thinking about, I don't know when gigs are ever going to come back, and then you're like, well, let's open a club just in case they do. What was the inspiration behind that? Like, why did you guys decide to do that? Was it because it's an outdoor venue, so you figured this is something you could do, or was it something that you always wanted to do? How'd the idea come about?
Well, we are all crew of artists, so yeah. The only entertainers, let's say, not only artists.
Right.
That's the best thing we can do. We can entertain people. We can make people have fun, have a good time, have a great memories, and we also can make people spend money, which is
Yes.
So we know how to do it. We still learn how to do it, but I can say we already know that. So that's the best we can do, and there was another ideas how to make some cash during the pandemics, but crypto shit, we have to sell this, we have to buy that's not my thing. I can't do it with my heart. I can't do it. So what I believe is that when you do something without your heart and soul, it's doomed, and of course the opposite, when you do it with your heart and soul, it's a matter of time when you're gonna reach the success. But you always reach the success. That's it. It's a rule for me.
Yeah, that's 100% true. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, well said. Um, so let's talk about like you producing, because I kind of want to hear about like your production process. Where do you start when you start a song? Do you start with the drums? Do you start with the tune in your head? Like where do you start, and how do you get to where you're going?
Well, how do I start? Every time is different. There is usually, of course, but first I'm getting inspired from a movie, from movie like historical movie for musician, documentary for musician like James Brown. This movie, there's one track, Exe, if you know it. It's all inspired by that movie for James Brown. Wow, I was crying at that movie for 5 times, man. I watched it four times. That's one of my favorite movies. So I was so inspired. I really wanted to reach the studio so fast after I watched it. So at the end of the movie, I was almost in the car driving to the studio. So I started to make music like that. And I remember I started Excel with the kick and bass only. I mean, I have a few kicks I'm working with. Now I got a few more, but I got few kicks I really like because kick and the bass, of course, it's the most important part for me. Because when you manage to make the groove only with these two things, the track is 50% done because you are already moving.
Yeah.
So I remember I mixed one great bass with the kick, and that was groovy enough. So I said, "This is gonna be really fat." Then I found usually I'm trying to find the beat, the claps, and the hats at the end because this is like a dessert for me. It's the best thing. But this time I said life is too short. Eat the dessert first. So I found very quickly these fat claps, and I EQ'd them very quickly. Everything was super quickly with this track at the beginning, and then I got the beat, everything, and then I started to make the music, the choirs, the synth, the arps, everything. And the vocal, this is one of the most important parts. There was the vocal is from the launching video of Exec Club's teaser. So it's we the whole crew invented we wrote the lyrics of that. So basically it was almost done track, the full vocal, so I couldn't hear one here and there, and bam, it's done.
I love that. I love being walked through the process of like creating a track. I produce too, so it's always like really interesting to me to hear how other people like conceptualize music or where they draw their inspiration from. So thank you
How
for
do you
that.
start, for example? I'm curious because that's a curious project.
Huh?
How do you start your tracks?
No. It that also depends. Sometimes I get inspired by hearing a vocal. Sometimes I just decide to sit down and start writing. But oftentimes, even if I'm inspired by a vocal or I have a synth line in my head, I always have to lay the kick. I always have to lay like a kick, a hat, and hi hats down, so I have something to match everything up to. So even if I have like a bass line running in my head, I'll just keep it running in my head while I write something down, like while I get something down really fast, because I can always replace that later. If I don't like the hat pattern, I can always go back and replace it later. But if I don't have something to like write to, like rhythmically, then I can't go anywhere. Um, so actually one of the most recent songs that I was working on was inspired by me listening to a bunch of old Fidget House and deciding I was like, oh, let me see if I can write something like that that sounds a little bit more modern. So, um, and it actually came out really cool. I was just like, oh, I want to do this again because I really liked it then, but I want to do something like that's like doesn't sound like it's 12 years old.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel it.
but it's always like I always start off with the kick drum. Like I always have to lay down the foundation first so I can like figure out how everything else should lay down around it. Because like you said, that's the most important thing.
Yeah. But also the speed of the production is very, very, very important. When I managed to design my idea the quickest in the best way and the quickest way, that's 100% success for me. Because sometimes there are tracks I make them for 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, and at the end it's done, but I already hate that track so much, so I cannot give it the energy it deserves. It's a good track, but still misses that part of me because it's 5 months. And when I can make a track for 1 day or 2 days or 3 days maximum, I love that track. It's got the energy. It's got everything.
My best songs happen in one session. Like I can sit down and like if I write something in like 2 or 3 hours, then I'm like, I know this one is really good because you're like in the flow. Everything is just coming out of you. You're like, I'm putting everything into this right now. And yeah, I may be exhausted by the end of it, but I know this is going to be really good because I got it all down at once. Like you really got the feeling into it. The longer it takes me to write a track, the harder it is for me to be into it later. Because I just keep coming back to it. I'm like, what's wrong with this? Maybe it just sucks. And that's why I keep coming back to it.
Yeah. My internet connection is not really well at the balcony, so I just got in to take some.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll feel you on that. What's going on in the US? Tell me.
Well, where I live, we're pretty much open. Like I live in Oakland / San Francisco. So I still have the option of like going to play DJ gigs and going out. Most places are going to like vaccinated only to go inside places, or so it's a little bit weird. But I feel a little bit safer, and I still get to do things. Like there's a lot of places in the country or even like in Canada that are still on lockdown where you can't do anything at all. So we're lucky to have like a scene happening.
US, it's crazy right now with the house and techno and electronic music. I mean,
Yeah.
It's like a revolution.
It's so nice to see. I've been in the scene for like 20 plus years. And
Wow.
When I first started, like in the late 90s, early 2000s, dance music was not cool. Like we were weird. We were weird for liking this stuff.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like we were the weird kids. Like, oh, you listen to techno? Oh, that's straight. Like that's too repetitive. And now it's like the cool thing to do. And I mean, yeah, there's a lot of commercial shit that's happening, but I think it's also really cool to see like underground dance music like popping off. Like it's nice to see artists that 20 years ago would struggle to tour getting millions of plays on a song. I love to see that. That's just amazing. It's nice to see the US like finally figuring out what the rest of the world figured out a long time ago.
Finally, it was about time, man.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah, right. I mean, I was always jealous of places like Europe where they had big festivals all the time, and I was like, why can't we do that here? And now we get that. So it's exciting.
Yeah. Not only in Europe, I mean the whole world except US, because you had that EDM, and somehow the EDM, I can see that a lot of EDM artists are going techno, tech house, and house music. For example, Carnage.
Yeah, you were just with him a couple days ago, right?
Yeah. He was a guest here. Really cool guy. So he wasn't here as Carnage. He was here as Gordo. That's his house and tech house name. And to be honest, I was quite scared what to expect from him, because he's a good DJ from a lot of years, but in another style which I don't like, honestly.
Right.
Of course. But man, he did amazing mix. Amazing set. People get crazy. I I was watching him playing his techniques. He's super professional. So I think as Gordo, he's good. He's got a great future. So I would definitely book him back here at Exe and Exe Sofia.
That's really good to hear. I feel like he got a lot of like bad vibes from people for like starting to play tech house, at least in the US.
Really?
A lot of people in the US were talking shit about that. And like I feel like it's like, hey, if that's what you like to do and you're really feeling the music and you want to go in a new direction, fucking go for it, man. That's awesome. Like great. You want to play house music? I want to hear more people play house music. Like, and if you're good at it and you're making good tunes, then fucking go for it. That's good. That's good for us. It's good for everybody if more people want to do that, especially somebody like him who's had commercial success, who's like played a lot of like, who's played to large crowds that are there to hear pop music. If he's playing house music, that means more people are going to like house music.
Of course, he's got 1.1 million in Instagram, and that's great influence for our small
Right?
house music community.
It is.
Yeah.
I, convert all of those people to house music fans.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I respect what he's doing, because that's not everyone will do. Everyone can do that, because you are risking your very successful career for millions just for following your heart. Huge respect to that guy.
No, huge respect. I mean, like, and I always felt like, people talk about like selling out or all this, and it's like, if you're following your heart, then there's no such thing as selling out. Even if that means you're making pop music or you're making like country, who cares? If that's what you want to do, then that's what you want to do. Good for you. Like, keep doing your thing. I gotta respect that.
Yeah, I think he's more happy playing electronic music, and that's why he's switching. It's not about the money here.
No.
That's it. It's not about the money. Of course, it's not about the money.
Yeah. No, because he was probably getting higher streams and making more money doing the other thing. But if he wants to go for it, dude, I love to see it. I love to see that.
Yeah.
Well, I always like to wrap things up by asking what excites you about the future of dance music.
Wow, this is tricky question. What excites me? I think most of all of the genres have their own future. So I'm buzzing to see how, for example, techno it's gonna develop in the next 2 years. Also the tech house, also the house music, because it's an old thing, but it's coming back and it's going back and it's coming back. I can see that during the years. So I'm curious about the next few years, because right now tech house and the house music, the original ones, they're mixing in a very good way. So I think they will become something different together, and I'm curious how it's gonna be. Also, indie melodic. All these scenes, they build up their own communities. So basically all of the genres right now are very strong, and yeah, why not another new one? I'm curious. But basically I'm starting a new style of production right now. It's not a new style, but it's between mine and between the old tech house before like 7 years.
Right.
So of course the quality it's higher than before, so I think that's a good advantage. And I'm curious how this line it's gonna develop as well. So expect something more different and groovy and dirty and sexy from my next production.
I'm looking forward to hearing that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to me today. This has been really fun. And yeah, I look forward to hearing more from you in the future, and we'll definitely be in touch.
Alex, yeah, thank you so much for that. It was super pleasure for me.
Thank you.
Super
I
pleasure
appreciate
to
that. I'm glad you enjoyed it
We'll keep in
too.
touch for sure.
Yeah. All right then, man. Great talking to you. We'll speak soon.
Bye bye, Alex.
Bye.
Take care.